Time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man. How the heck are you? Indeed, it is the Monty Show. Wednesday, January 5th, 2022. Hi, Jake.
Hello.
Now, we have a lot to get to today.
Okay.
We got to talk about 5G. We got to talk about Apple Pay. Why Walmart sucks. Why Cafe Rio's amazing.
Chipotle's the best.
And I had lentil shepherd's pie for lunch yesterday.
Does that sound remotely good?
It was actually really good.
Lentils?
Lentils in shepherd pie.
Okay.
Shepherd's pie.
Okay.
Like, it was actually really good. Mrs. Monty's not around, but I'm actually pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
Now, I am also fully engaged in creating methane this morning.
Right.
Based on the fact I also had my usual fiber for breakfast, my peas for lunch, and then my lentils for dinner.
Right. Right. So you checked off the fiber box yesterday.
Oh, my God.
Right.
Like, it's not. There was some hot boxing going on in bed last night.
Hot boxing.
Oh, man. Dude, you want to talk about creating a pressure cooker under the blankets. Bro. Like, it was.
Did the dog get out from under the blankets?
The dog's never under. The dogs do not sleep in our bed.
What?
Ever.
Wow.
Like, you don't have a dog because you broke up with her by text. But, I mean, you used to let your dog sleep in your bed.
Yeah.
Oh, don't do it.
Well, I mean, not that dog.
Wait, a dog sleep in your bed is not a euphemism for anything, right? That's just like a canine.
Right. It's not a euphemism. No.
I mean, it's a legitimate question.
But we've all farted our dog out from under the covers.
Yeah, but you cannot let your dog sleep in your bed. Let's just get this out of the way.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the Jazz made a trade. They're in salary cap hell. But you can't tell me that are you really letting your dog sleep in your bed?
I mean, I think most people do.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I think most people do.
No. You cannot do that. No. Why would you do that?
I don't know. Because I think if you live alone and, you have a dog, like, isn't that the point of having a dog?
No. The point of having a dog is so that, they'll lick, like, the grease off your fingers and fill your backyard with poop. I mean,
guess.
Oh, wow. Okay. Anyway.
Okay. Good talk. This is good.
I mean, I guess that's the point. You cannot let your dog sleep in your bed. And if your girl's like, oh, dog's sleeping in my bed, you can't do that. I'm telling you right now, you absolutely cannot do that.
You don't think if you live alone and you have a dog that the dog can't sleep with you?
No. It's a huge mistake.
I guess.
I'm telling you, because hopefully you're not going to be single and living alone forever.
True.
And I'm telling you, when it's time to make them babies and you're letting the dog sleep in your bed, it's a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Because she'd rather curl up with the dog than with you.
Uh-huh.
I'm telling you right now.
Right.
Put that dog in the living room.
Right. Okay. Yeah, sure.
That's all I'm saying.
All right, sure.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, good.
My dog sleeps in my bed, Chris Karn says.
See? Chris, thanks, dude. Thanks, bro.
Don't do it.
See?
He also says reports say Sunday is Nagy's last game. Yeah, and Sean Payton is supposedly one of the top targets for the Bears.
Let's go.
Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh says he wants to coach the Bears or the Raiders.
Well, I'd rather have Sean Payton.
Well, yeah.
Duh.
I don't understand why Jim Harbaugh is always a sexy candidate.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he has had a miserable run at Michigan.
Yeah, one good season and how many?
And finally they make the college football playoff and they get boat raced.
Yeah.
I've never really understood why Jim Harbaugh, I covered him in San Francisco with the Niners, and he was a cog.
Yeah.
Like,
He's just that guy.
Jim Harbaugh, I don't even think it's that Jim Harbaugh likes Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I just think he's an odd dude that comes off as a real jerk.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
And if I'm the Chicago Bears, like, I'm not taking a risk with this hire. Now, if I'm also the Chicago Bears, I'm terrible at footballing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not good at hiring people. The Bears have never had the best quarterback in football. Never.
You're not good at hiring people. You're not good
at
drafting. You're not good at picking new stadium locations. So what are you good at? Nothing.
Okay, well, but in all seriousness, with the stadium location, A, you're being a Jim Harbaugh about it. But B, it's actually not a terrible location other than the fact it's not in Chicago and you're the Chicago Bears. Other than that, it's fine. right? I mean,
The Arlington Park Bears
they'll be the Chicago Bears.
guy.
They'll be the Chicago Bears. The Arizona Cardinals are
not the Glendale Cardinals.
No.
Yeah.
So they'll be the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
I just think it's one of those things that if you're the Chicago Bears, if you think about the teams that are going to fire their head coach.
Yeah.
If that is Judge in New York, I don't think the Jets are going to fire Salah. But if you go up and down the coaching ranks here, the Chicago Bears should be the best job that's available.
Yeah, because it is a great job, but you gotta,
I just don't know. I don't know why you would even look at Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Is the Raider job better than the Bears job?
No,
probably not.
No.
But if you go be the head coach of the Oakland, now Las Vegas, not in LA ever Raiders, you have a better stadium, you have better ownership, you probably have more money, and you're probably closer to winning a Super Bowl with the Raiders than you are with the Bears.
Probably.
I mean, the Bears are in business to make money, not win games.
Yeah.
So don't even no. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not. All right. At least you know what? Speaking of colon cleansing, at least we got the Bears talk out early.
Yeah, we got it out of the way. Everything's fine. We're good to go.
It is fine.
We're good to go.
There is a debate about letting your dog sleep in the bed. Daryl says forever single. John Jackson says I don't let my dog sleep in our bed, but I know many that do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. You can't.
Does size of the dog matter? Like if you have like a medium-sized dog versus a Chihuahua.
Well, a smaller, you can if you have a big dog, you can't let them sleep in your bed. A, that's disgusting. B, you don't even change your sheets ever.
Okay, yes I do.
I mean,
yes I do.
How often do you change your sheets?
I just change them. I change them probably
Well, yeah,
once
but now
every
you
2
have
weeks.
a girlfriend though. Now you have a girlfriend that you're going to get married to. So, but before you had a girlfriend you were getting married to, how often did you change your sheets?
Like probably once every 2 weeks.
You're a liar.
I'm not a liar, dude. I'm not a liar, bro. Like you doubt all this stuff.
Anyway, I don't believe that you change your sheets every couple of weeks.
Don't believe it.
Chris Karn says Jake wants to know if size matters. That's an entire show, Jake.
Well,
he's exactly right. My 2 cats sleep in our bed. Well, eBay the sofa surfer, you're a cat guy. As a cat guy, that's a different level of therapy.
Yeah.
If you're a cat guy.
I mean, come on.
I mean, those are conversations we probably don't want to have in public. Giggity says maybe the Bears can go after Kelly so he can work on his accents. Stop it. See, the problem, Giggity, is if you say that out loud, George McCaskey, who is a complete buffoon but runs the Bears, may hear you. So, please. All right, should we talk? No, guy. Bears going after Doc Rivers because they like making bad decisions. See, this is what happens, Chris Karn, when you bring up
garbage.
The Chicago Bears. We get Doc Rivers as the next head coach of the Chicago Bears. Thank you. And we already have a Russian in here, leaving crazy. I don't know what.
Dude, what is the deal?
I don't know. It's 3 days in a row with the Russians up in this mo.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. eBay the Sofa Surfer says Gay can't shoot the 3 or finish anymore with consistency.
Thank you for getting us back on track.
All he has going for him is his leadership off camera and his hustle on the board. So weigh that, and is he worth it? To me, no. Let's talk Utah Jazz basketball. The Jazz made a trade. They traded Oni to OKC, Miye Oni to Oklahoma City, essentially to save themselves $2.4 million in luxury tax payments. I think it's a great deal. It opens up a roster spot that they'll have to fill here in the next 10 days. But the Jazz are at a critical moment in time because one of the interesting things about the Jazz, and the reason we're talking about Rudy Gay this morning, is because Hassan Whiteside was, I think, one of the best signings of the offseason for any club, right? But he's got a concussion. He's not playing. So they're playing the small ball lineup with Rudy Gay when Rudy Gobert's on the bench, which is why Rudy Gay was brought to the Jazz so that they could compete and play a small ball lineup. Well, the only problem is their defense gets exponentially worse with Rudy Gay playing the 5. So, Jake, my question is, has Rudy Gay been worth it for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, I mean, I think that so far, we can't say that it's been worth it, but I also think that they haven't had a lot of reps playing that small ball lineup. So I think, the thing here is that the Jazz already as a team, when Rudy Gobert is out there, are not a great defensive team. So then you take that dynamic away and you put Rudy Gay out there and you run the small ball lineup, and they're just not yet prepared and playing good defense with the small ball lineup. So I think it's a little early to say, hey, Rudy Gay hasn't been worth it and this wasn't a great signing. But I also think that Rudy Gay, just on an individual level with his contributions, hasn't lit it up either. So I think it's kind of this fine line. Like, I think when Rudy Gay is out there defensively, you can see that not everybody is on the same page. They're not all working together as a unit to play a solid brand of defense. And that is not all on Rudy Gay. But again, I think that, they Quinn Snyder needs to bring this second unit together. Like, he needs to figure out, okay, how can we get everybody on the same page so that when Gobert gets his rest while Whiteside is out, we still can play decent defense? Because again, and this is something we seemingly bring up every single day, they are fortunate to be playing a little bit softer of a schedule. So you are able to mess around with small ball lineups against these bad teams, right? Like, you're able to do these things, but still go out and win the game in the fourth when Donovan takes over. So you're in a fine place, but this has to get figured out, because I think the other side of the coin here is if you can figure out the small ball lineup, that's going to pay dividends in the postseason. If you can figure out how to play small ball now, that may give you options in your matchups later in the year. So I think it's also important they figure that out from that aspect.
Yeah, but I don't think this team is going to survive past January.
Meaning,
I think that before the NBA trade deadline, the Utah Jazz will make a roster shifting trade.
mm-hmm.
And I think that this conversation, while this roster is intact, obviously it's relevant, it's germane. But when I look at where the Jazz are now versus where I think they will be in February and March, I think this is going to be a completely different team. I think a foundational change is coming to this Utah Jazz roster. And everybody I talk to around the NBA has been saying, hey, Danny Ainge is only here because Ryan Smith, the owner of the Jazz, wants to win a championship, and he wants to win multiple championships in the next 5 years. I've heard that repeatedly. That's why Danny Ainge is here.
Yeah.
Danny Ainge isn't here to just kind of pat people on the head and say, nice job, hey, way to go. Where do I send the check for our luxury tax bill?
Yeah.
That's not why Danny Ainge is here. And if you look at the trade, the Oni trade, I mean, it should crystallize some things for you. This team has a $27 million tax bill. The Utah Jazz, who play in Salt Lake City, a small market, a lower revenue generating market, has a $27 million tax bill without a significant TV deal, without a second tier rights deal, without a streaming deal, without really a lot of revenue streams that other teams have. The Utah Jazz are paying $27 million in luxury tax. You better be winning, and this team is not. This roster is one that, when it is together in the postseason, is an average NBA team. And that's a huge problem. So this Oni trade, I think, is just the beginning. Mm-hmm. And back to Rudy Gay, I don't think at this point we fully have the return on Rudy Gay. I don't know that we know if he's worth it or not yet. But to me, the impact that he's brought has not been significant. He has not shown up and absolutely been a contributor. And yeah, this is the guy we were looking for. And I just don't think he's made that much of an impact on this roster, Jake. And so I guess if the question truly is, has Rudy Gay been worth it? I want to say I don't know yet, but if we're answering that question today, no, I don't think his impact has been significant.
Yeah, and I would agree. I mean, I agree with everything you said there. I think, yeah, if we have to answer today, the answer is probably no. But I also think we have to say that there hasn't been enough time yet. Like, I think, this team needs a shakeup in the starting five. And I also think that the reason that's so important is not just in the win-loss column, but if you think about it, if you improve your starting five, that makes everybody around that starting five better. So, if the expectation, because I think the issue with the Rudy Gay situation is everybody thought when he came in that he was going to be like 20 points a night and like he was going to come in here and really splash on the points column. And that's not what Rudy Gay is as a player at this point. Rudy Gay is a guy that, yes, has a lot of leadership skills, as one of the commenters was saying. That is a huge value to him as a guy, but also he can shoot the three. And I think what he does is he brings some stability to the floor. That's like his ideal role in the second unit. But too often you're asking him to do, once again, as we've said many times on this roster, they're asking somebody to do more than he really should be asked to do. He shouldn't be asked to play, the five consistently. He's only being asked to do that because Hassan is out. So I don't know. I just think no matter what, even if you look at the Rudy Gay situation or any other situation on this roster, we always find ourselves coming back to the same answer, which is your wing defense is really just a problem because if it's Rudy Gay, Rudy Gobert, they're playing the same defense. They're trying to funnel the pick and roll to the paint so that the five can stop it. And Rudy Gay's not doing that.
But when I look at the defense without Rudy Gobert and without Hassan Whiteside, who I think's been worth twice the price they paid for him at least, that defense has been terrible. That's why we're bringing this up. If you look at the comments Mike Conley made about defense without Rudy Gobert and Hassan Whiteside back there, Mike Conley said, quote, "It's different without having a traditional big in Hassan or Rudy Gobert back there because we base our defense solely on forcing everybody to our big. We base our defense solely on forcing everybody to our big." And so I say to myself, okay, so if we watch this Jazz team and on the perimeter, they're a turnstile, like your philosophy is to let that happen, that's a little confounding to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't think the philosophy is to just let everyone go by you, but I do think as a team, yeah, their philosophy is like in the pick and roll. Hey, we're going to push people into the paint to filter them to Gobert, and this is why I think we wind up coming back to, hey, it's not that Gobert has any shortcomings. They're asking too much of him as an individual player. And I think, this team would be in a much better place if they could just simply say, okay, we're going to play the best perimeter defense we can possibly play, knowing that Rudy Gobert is back there as the stopper if they were to get by us.
Yeah, I don't know. I think anytime you rely on one guy to be your defensive stalwart in basketball, I think you're in trouble. You need 4 competent defensive players on the floor. You can deal with a guy who gives you a ton of offense, but can't really move laterally or what. You could deal with a Bojan Bogdanovic, let's say, if the other 4 guys on the floor with him were stellar defensively. But you have one guy essentially that plays any kind of minutes that's really good defensively. Other than that, you struggle pretty much all over the floor. I mean, Donovan is a wanting defender. I wouldn't say he's a good defender. I think you look at the other guys on this roster. I mean, everybody wants to point to Royce O'Neal being a great on-ball defender, and I'm telling you, he's not. He is somebody that is paid to defend, and he doesn't defend all that well. So my point is, if you listen to what else Mike Conley said, he said, quote, "Everybody's kind of without Gobert and Hassan Whiteside on the floor. Everybody's kind of activated into more of a help the helper situation as opposed to trying to make it into a 2-on-2 situation with the big and the guard like we're accustomed to doing."
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, that's a little...
I mean, it's not great to hear.
That's an interesting comment.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great to hear. I mean, I think what Mike is really saying there without saying it is, hey, like, we're not playing the best defense we really want to be playing. He's basically saying we're just sort of help the helper means that everybody's just kind of running around. That's what that means in basketball. Hey, we're helping the helper. Okay, that means that you're leaving your assignment to go somewhere else. And that just means that on defense in the NBA you're running around, and that's not good defense. And so I guess all of this to say that again, like I keep pointing out, we're just coming right back to the same point in the conversation of, hey, they need to make, that trade you talk about where it's like, hey, this roster shakeup trade, this big trade, they need to make a move that brings that perimeter defense. Because once that happens, this team will be a problem. Once they can play good perimeter defense, they're going to get a lot more in transition. They're going to get a lot easier looks at the rim on the other end.
Yes.
So that to me is like the one big thing that's holding this team back. And I'll be curious to see how they work with the $27 million tax bill, how they, what Danny Ainge does creatively to make a deal happen, being that the situation is what it is with the tax bill. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's just interesting. Jordy on Twitter is eviscerating you for saying that, their defense is porous. And, well, here, let me join you in that. The Jazz are not a good defensive team. And I think it's interesting. There's a lot of Jazz fans who have trouble digesting this.
And by the way, we're not the only ones saying that the Jazz are not a great defensive team. Like, this is not a secret. Like, this isn't like, we're breaking news here. I mean, this is not like, this is well known.
The Jazz, the problem is statistically the Jazz rank well defensively. And we live in a very statistically driven
everybody
fandom.
Listen, everybody in the NBA wants to say, oh, it's stats. They're a great defensive team on the stat sheet. Right. But what did that do for you in the playoffs when you're playing a 7-game series and matchups win you games? That's what we're talking about here. Like, I respect the fact that, yes, statistically, sure, they may rank well defensively. Great. They may have good defensive numbers. That might be true. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But what I am disagreeing on is, hey, when they get to the second round of the postseason and they're playing the Clippers or the Lakers or the Warriors or whatever team that they wind up running into, that team doesn't care about your stats on the stat sheet. That team is going to exploit your inability to move laterally on the perimeter. That team is going to find a way to get Steph open on the wing to seal the game with that three. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm not trying to be negative or say that, hey, they don't do a good job statistically defensively. What I'm saying is that, hey, you have a $27 million tax bill. You are not good enough on your perimeter defense in the postseason in a 7-game series to win a championship. And that's what has to be addressed. That's what I'm specifically saying.
Yeah, and I think that you have to – the other thing I think you have to do is you have to get a little more flexible on offense because that's going to help you on defense, as well as Rudy Gobert does rebounding. And this is a pretty good rebounding team. But as well as Rudy does rebounding, when you miss a lot of threes, you tend to give up a lot of points. And I think we see that when the Jazz struggle. I just don't know why it's taboo to say that the Jazz struggle defensively, because they're not a great defensive team. Mm-hmm. They are not. So and the thing I don't want to do is get into, well, this guy and that guy, and I'm not interested in Jeremy Grant conversations. You've got to find the right guys to put 10 guys on the floor on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
And right now, Quinn is playing 7-8 guys a night, and it's a problem. And again, I do think, and I think it was the Nye guy yesterday who mentioned it, but yeah, I have slightly changed my opinion on Quinn Snyder. I am still to this day shocked that he is not playing Jared Butler more. I'm really surprised by that. Even in limited minutes, even any exposure you can get him. But I don't understand that. Why did you pick up Udoka Azubuike's option?
Yeah.
You're just not. I mean, Trent Forrest is getting some minutes now, but where's Elijah Hughes? Like, you're not playing any of your young guys, and your old guys aren't getting better. The 8 guys you play are who they are. Mm-hmm. Jordan Clarkson's not going to get better. Joe Ingles is not going to get better. Boyan, the only guy who has big upside on this team is Donovan Mitchell. That's it. I don't see Rudy Gobert improving dramatically. None of that. I mean, you have one guy that's going to progress, and I think it's Donovan Mitchell. And I think he's probably near his top end. He will refine and evolve. But other than that, I mean, is there anybody who thinks Mike Conley's going to evolve into something he's not already?
No.
He's not. I mean, is Royce O'Neal getting better than he is now? He's not. Right? I mean, and Jazz fans tend to be very emotional about their players, right? Take the emotion out of it. Do you believe that you can compete with I'm not even talking about anybody see what Devin Booker and the Suns did last night.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Booker is having a career year, right? Does anybody think that this Jazz team can beat the Suns in a 7-game series? I think that's the team you would want to play. I still am not convinced the Jazz would beat the Suns in seven games.
Yeah.
I'm not I know right now I am confident they cannot beat Golden State. So let's look at some of the second-tier teams. Is there anybody who believes, take your emotion and your fandom out of it, is there anybody believe that this Jazz team can beat the Nets? Kyrie back tonight for the Brooklyn Nets.
Mm-hmm.
The Brooklyn Nets are with Kyrie, KD, and Harden, the Brooklyn Nets are a better team.
Yeah.
They are. Because you don't have an answer, let alone for one of those players, yet all three of them.
Yeah.
Right? So I look at the Chicago Bulls. I look at some point, Ben Simmons isn't going to be a Sixer anymore.
Yeah, at some point he'll be back in the league.
So let's figure out what the Sixers turn into.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the Clippers. Are you better than the Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George?
Well, I think the question is, are you better than them right now? Because we don't know what Kawhi's status is. We don't know,
he's going to be back.
I mean, he'll be back, but, what does he look like as a player? Is he, 100%? Is he, you know what I mean? We don't know the answers to these questions. And so I think, can the Jazz beat the Clippers in their current form?
Yes.
With Paul George, and
Paul's not playing, though. Paul's not playing.
But he'll be back.
He's got this elbow injury.
He'll be back.
I don't know. I'm more looking at middle table down. I don't think you could beat the Memphis Grizzlies in a 7-game series.
I think that'd be really close.
I don't think that. I think Memphis has a real good shot to win that. This Damian Lillard abdominal injury that looks like it's going to keep him out for the year now. He's thinking about having surgery on it. I mean, Portland's a non-factor, but I look at all of these teams. Dallas is going to get better. Denver's certainly going to get better if they ever get healthy.
Well, you're seeing Denver on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I think Denver's got an offense problem.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're without two of your best players,
yeah,
I mean that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
So right now, the Jazz are better than Denver. I'm not ready to say the Jazz are better than the Memphis Grizzlies right now. John Morant's playing out of his absolute mind. Bane is a much better player this year than he was last year. I look at that Memphis team. When you're scoring 110 points and you're only giving up 107.7 points, you're going to win a lot of games. You are, and they can play. You want to go to the rack, they can go to the rack. You want to run, they can run. You want to shoot threes, they can shoot threes. I think Memphis is a scary team.
Yeah, they're better for sure, no doubt.
Yeah. But then I look out east, and I don't know what the Milwaukee Bucks are gonna be. I mean, that's a team that's in flux constantly with injuries. Jimmy Butler went out for the Heat last night.
Mm-hmm.
The Sixers, obviously, with Joel being, a game day decision every day, it seems like. Ben Simmons not there. The Cavaliers are not better than the Jazz.
No.
But I think the Chicago Bulls are better than the Jazz, especially when they're 100%.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting matchup. I think, and again, I think on a surface level as Jazz fans, you're like, man, some of these, I wouldn't be surprised if we were getting comments about the Grizzlies take, But if you watch the Grizzlies and you really pay attention to how they play it, I mean, it would be a tight matchup for sure. I think, when you look at, if you just look at it, and this is a tough thing with the Jazz, and this is why I think Jazz fans get a little frustrated. When Jazz fans look at the win-loss column and the stat sheet and in the paper, everything says that the Jazz are an elite team. But then when you watch them play these teams, the matchups really dictate the game. And that's what's really tough about this team. And that's why I always say, the Jazz are in a really tough spot. They're in one of the worst spots in sports that you can be. You're a really good team, that gets to the postseason seemingly every year, but you just don't have enough to win that matchup when you need to win it. And that's really tough. And so teams like Memphis, who are getting better, I agree, Memphis is definitely better. Memphis would give you a hell of a fight in a 7-game series. I can't say definitively that the Jazz would win that series, but I think it would be a really tight series, so they're better. You look at this Bulls team right now is playing a hell of a brand of basketball. They're fast. They've got great mid-range. They can shoot the three. Like, they're doing good things.
Look at this Lakers New Orleans trade rumor.
Mm-hmm.
That's got Josh Hart and Jonas Valanciunas going to the Lakers for Russell Westbrook. I mean, the Lakers are going to make a big trade.
Yeah.
And I think most people believe it'll be Russ. I mean, if you get Josh Hart back and Valanciunas back, that's a pretty good upgrade.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the Lakers are going to be better. The Warriors are already elite. My point in all of this is you've got to find a way to remake this Jazz roster. You do. I mean, it's this Oni trade is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Greg Hawkins, good morning to you. The blind Swartzman says he's been worth it because of the vet minimum, but defensively he's been kind of doo-doo.
Yeah.
Yeah. The eBay the Sofa Surfer says, I like Ingles, but Ainge is trading him. He should trade him and Gay and trade for Miles Turner, who can play alongside Gobert. Well, the problem is they hate each other. That much has been established. And I don't think Miles Turner, I don't think he's what you need here.
Well, and you're not going to have 3 bigs on one roster. That's not.
Yeah, and you don't need another 3-point shooter. You need a guy to get to the basket. And like I see Mr. E saying Jeremy Grant at all costs or we'll have the same mediocre results. Jeremy Grant doesn't fix what's wrong with you. Jeremy Grant, 1, is injury prone. 2, he loves to shoot the 3. And 3, I mean, I'm not willing to acquire another guy that you can't count on in the postseason.
Yeah.
I'm just not willing to do that. And he makes I think he makes 25 a year or something stupid like that. Like,
he gets paid.
I mean, he makes a lot of money. And I just don't know. And again, this is just me. I don't understand the love affair with the 3 on this team when you already have 57 guys on this roster that only shoot the 3.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is the roster needs more balance. You need more, like, yes, you always want, on NBA teams, you want probably 2 to 3 guys that can reliably hit the 3 for you, but you also need guys that can get to the cup and kick and do all that. And right now, I think, and even with Donovan, like, Donovan gets 3 happy sometimes. We've all seen that, and that's going to be part of what, he changes to improve his game. But I just think that, too often this roster, it does turn into Donovan and everybody else. And the problem is that everybody else can't get by anybody offensively, and that's the tough part. So even when you are making the 3, like, you can't, get by once they start trying to take that away. And that's what you're really trying to do in basketball. Hey, let's make some 3s so that they come to us and then we can go buy them. That's part of what you're trying to do, and they can't.
Yeah, and if I'm getting a guy on Detroit, give me Diallo right now, who's absolutely crushing. Jeremy Grant's got $40 million guaranteed left on that deal.
They just can't do that.
They're
not doing that deal.
I'm not interested in that. I don't know, man. I think the Jazz, if the Jazz are smart, they will clear cap this year, and they will remake this roster next year. Because I don't think you're winning a championship through trade, not right now. And it is I still maintain you need to completely remake this roster as soon as you can. And I know that's probably not a real popular view, but it's what I said last summer. I still think you should bite the bullet this year and do the best that you can do, and really put yourself in a position to compete financially in the next 5 years. And I just don't think that they have done that. And I look at their cap and I look at, I don't know, man. I look at who I would trade for, and I'm trying to find numbers. But if you're asking me right now what this team needs, I think the Utah Jazz need somebody to attack the basket and play defense.
Mm-hmm.
They can shoot 53s a game right now. The question is, if you trade a guy like a Bojan Bogdanovic, what do you need in return for that? What do you need to replace? You're gonna need a 20-point-a-night guy.
Yeah, the guy you're looking for is like a Mikal Bridges from Phoenix. Not that you're ever going to get him, but that's the kind of player that you're looking for. You're looking for the secondary guy that is really strong in his role, that can play great defense and shoot the three, and ideally get to the basket. But,
Yeah, I don't know that they have a lot of.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of options, and that's what we keep saying. Like, when you have that luxury tax bill, like, that is what it is.
Yeah.
So
I mean, an ideal guy for me is a guy like a Kevin Love. He is having a renaissance of a season. He is a short-term option for you. I mean, I want a guy in return who's going to give me production and cap space.
Yeah.
And those guys are awfully hard to find. I totally understand that. But, man, I'm telling you, and I know everybody's going to say, oh, he's broken. I'm not trying to win a championship this year. I'm not. And I look at the way that the Jazz are built, and I don't think there's anything that you can do right now to win a championship. And and
that's just what it is.
It is what I want that. Kevin Love, I bring up Kevin Love not specifically for him, but I want a guy that can be a hybrid player. I want a guy who can give me big, but can shoot the three. I want a guy who can play down low. I want a guy who can be you need a true power forward on this team.
Yeah.
And it just isn't. The problem when I look at guys like Jeremy Grant is he's injured and to me, he's not versatile. I look at somebody like a Miles Turner. He's not versatile.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a guy you can hand the ball to. He shoots threes and he plays defense. And he does it well. He's a great shot blocker.
Yeah.
You already have that.
Yeah.
You already have that.
Yeah.
So give me somebody who gives you something you don't have.
Yeah.
And I just think that's that model of player, Kevin Love, but not Kevin Love.
Yeah.
Is a kind of,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want that kind of guy.
And that's really hard to come by in this league.
Yeah.
But when I look around the league and I look at guys like Brandon Ingram, who everybody now is talking about being traded,
Mm-hmm.
I'd love a Brandon Ingram type player on this team.
Yeah.
A guy that can get to the basket, a guy that's long and defends.
Yeah, his game is predicated on the mid-range and getting to the basket.
I would love a player like that on this roster who you can count on, who you can absolutely count on. I'd love a guy like that on this roster. I would love a Josh Hart on this roster.
Yeah.
The frustrating thing for me is you look around this league and you hear the names that the Jazz are linked to, it's like, what do I want with Robert Covington?
Nothing.
Like, I don't want anything with Justin Holiday, or I just don't want that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I do.
if you're going to make a deal, it's got to create cap flexibility, and it's got to be a guy that can play the wing. That, to me, that's it. All right, let me get a couple more of your comments. The Nye Guy says, I think Gay is an upgrade over the minivan for sure. I like Grant, but he's Mr. Glass, and he's hurt constantly.
Yeah.
You're not. If you only signed Rudy Gay to upgrade George Niang, that was probably a mistake to sign him.
Yeah.
I mean, to me anyway. eBay says Jazz need to get with the Pacers before other teams do. The Pacers are having a fire sale supposedly. But what do you want from the Pacers? What do you want from the Pacers? Like, do you have, and I don't know what Sabonis is making off the top of my head.
Too much.
Is Sabonis a guy that you feel like fits into what you do? Is Sabonis a guy that...
Well, no, I would want to go and get Malcolm Brogdon. That's what I'd want, from the Pacers. I think that would be... But he's making money, a lot of money.
Yeah,
so, you're not going to be able to get him. So that's why I say, like, I don't know. And again, I'm not trying to be difficult about it, but that's the problem with the luxury tax thing. I mean, it just puts you in this position where you have to make it perfectly match.
Yeah, Domantas Sabonis is making $20 million a year. He's got $58 million guaranteed. Malcolm Brogdon's at $22 million a year with $90 million guaranteed left.
Yeah.
Again, I will maintain the two guys on that Pacer roster you want is Karis LeVert, who's making 17.5, and what's Torrey Craig is like, to me, Torrey Craig's a great bench guy for the Jazz. He shoots the three, and he's a tenacious defender who gets fouled a lot and goes to the line. Like that, why you're not playing Eric Pascal at all doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense to me. Like I look at least with the other teams in the West, like I look at the Lakers again. And I real quick, I'm going to talk about this Sacramento Laker thing last night. But the Lakers play all of their guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand this thing where you're playing 7, 8 guys a night.
Yeah, it's silly. It
like,
doesn't
what
make
is
a
the
lot
point
of sense.
of that?
Yeah.
You did see the Lakers Kings thing last night. So the Kings are down 5 to the Lakers with 24 seconds left in the game. The Lakers miss a free throw. All of the Lakers run down the floor to play defense. De'Aaron Fox goes to rebound the ball, but intentionally doesn't touch it so that the clock won't start. The clock starts anyways. De'Aaron Fox points it out. The officials stop the game. And they essentially what they did is they got together, talked about it, and called a jump ball, which by the letter of the law in the NBA is the correct call. If when the clock stops and the official blows the ball dead, blows his whistle, if nobody has possession of the ball, it's a jump ball.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, the Kings got screwed on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely got screwed on that.
Yes.
It is, and it's the right call. It's just a horrendous situation. It is a terrible rule. A terrible rule.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the issue is that, the Lakers clock operator makes a mistake, and then the Kings have to pay for that, which is essentially what, Alvin Gentry said. So I just, that's the kind of thing in the NBA where I'm like, okay, that's, you can't, you got to be better than that as an official. You got to be able to say, okay, yeah, this was clearly a mistake. This should be the Kings' ball. And the problem is, if you're the Kings, that game isn't even close to over. You still have an opportunity there because you're down 5 with time left. So, I just think it's that was just so poorly handled by the officiating crew.
It was so frustrating. If you haven't seen the video, Alvin Gentry lost his mind.
And it was funny.
And you can hear the words he said. It's hysterical. It is. All right, let's see. Tanner Plummer says Brandon Ingram would be a fit right in with this team. He also says you guys may have already talked about it, but do you think Miles Turner would fit? I don't. Kelsey Hammer says, Hamer? 1M. Hamer is Hamer, I think. In Utah, people keep thinking this is 2K22. Exactly.
Yeah.
And we just need to get the best team rating. In real life, you have to get the positions you need to support the game plan. An example is LeBron James Cavs. Yeah, you have to build a team around Donovan Mitchell that supports what Donovan Mitchell does.
Yes.
In my opinion, because you're going to lose him if you don't. eBay, the Sofa Surfer says, Torrey Craig is a great bench guy for sure. Totally agree, yes. The Nye guy says Pascal is Crowder Jr., but I'd love to have Jay Crowder on this team.
But why won't you play him?
Why won't you play him? Fox is supposedly being moved. Curious what gets him. He's a super fast, super young guard. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Why with the Russians today? Why with the Russians? I don't understand it. Ethan says, go get Obi Toppin. Yeah, the Knicks will trade him. Hey, Monty, say it. Terry Rozier would fit perfect with the Jazz. Oh, my God. Terry Rozier doesn't pass ever.
Scary Terry.
Scary Terry does not pass.
No, he does not.
I mean, you already have that in Jordan Clarkson.
Yes, you do.
And I hate to. Oh, this is going to piss people off. Tell me you wouldn't love to have Gordon Hayward back. That skill set on this roster. Come on. If you were
a good question.
Oh, it is a good question. If you were upgrading Royce O'Neal with Gordon Hayward, come on.
I mean, yeah, that's a great upgrade.
I know your groin hurts just to say that out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Your groin probably tightened when I said that.
No, my legs started to hurt.
Okay. That was not nice. That was not nice. Joshua Erickson says Harrison Barnes. Question is how you get him. Yeah, Harrison Barnes would be amazing.
Yeah.
We've talked about him repeatedly. Kelsey Hamer says, what player do you see the Jazz getting, Monty? Be honest. Right now, today, I don't see them getting any significant contributor. That's something you're going to have to do in the offseason. And I think if Danny Ainge is Danny Ainge, he has probably sold Ryan Smith on the long term, which is exactly what he should do.
Yeah.
So if I'm the Utah Jazz, I'm gonna do the best that I can do this year. And I know that Ryan Smith said we're never gonna trade Joe Ingles.
It's never going to happen.
I love Joe. You're gonna trade Joe Ingles. You should trade Royce O'Neal. And I think the hard part is selling the Jazz fan base on, like, if you trade Bojan Bogdanovic for your mom's old panties, that's going to piss a bunch of Jazz fans off.
Pack your shit. Let's go.
Yeah, like, you're out, right? Like, but if I'm the Jazz, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. And you know, for better or for worse, you're going to be Donovan, Rudy Gobert, and Mike Conley.
Mm-hmm.
And
it should be everybody else.
I would remake everybody below that. Because you're married to Rudy Gobert whether you want to be or not.
Yeah.
So bring in pieces that support Donovan and build around those three so that you can compete for a championship next year. Because I'm not saying there's no chance, but I don't see any way that this team wins a championship this year.
Yeah.
I don't. I
agree.
I just don't. I don't know how you do that. You know, and you have an opportunity with Joe Ingles on an expiring deal, on a declining performance. You know, you look at the Oni trade to OKC. That's exactly the deal you need. They're under the salary tax floor.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time the Jazz and OKC have had dealings. You know?
No, Derek Favors is another example of that. But you've got to find somebody to help you.
Yeah.
And giving up a second-round pick, I will just say, you haven't done much with your first-round picks. So the Jazz giving up second-round picks to me means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. And I love Joe Ingles, and I love what he brings, and I love the chemistry, and
it's all good, but it's time to move on.
I love Bojan, but he's, like somebody was getting on me yesterday about the fact that I said that Bojan Bogdanovic is not a 20-point-a-night guy. This year, consistently, he has not been a 20-point-a-night guy. Like this year right now, reloading ads. Bojan Bogdanovic last year averaged 17 points a game. This year he's averaged 17.8.
Bojan Bogdanovic.
You need more from him. And he's actually shooting the ball really well. I want more from Bojan Bogdanovic.
Yeah.
But he's never going to command the ball.
Yeah.
That's not that guy. He's never going to command the ball. Even though he's shooting 43% for three, that's got real value. Bojan Bogdanovic has real value, right? That's a guy that you can send to a contender and get something in return.
Trade chip for sure.
I would trade Bojan Bogdanovic, and I would do it willingly and quickly if I could.
Yeah.
You know, but as far as players that I think the Jazz are going to get back and name, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I think the answer to that question right now is, you know, the player and the names really are dependent on the money. You know, I mean that's just where the team is at. So I think right now, yeah, I agree. Danny Ainge just sold Ryan Smith on, you know, the 5-year picture, and I think that this year you're either going to go one of two ways. I mean, Danny Ainge could theoretically get super aggressive and build a championship contender this year, and like, you know, but that would require like blowing the roster up and making like serious like franchise altering moves. But I think the challenge with that is the luxury tax bill. And that's why I think it won't happen this year. I agree with you. I think it'll happen over the summer, and hopefully you come back next year and you have a legit roster that you can actually go and chase something.
And I'd love to see Torrey Craig be the guy that the Jazz go and get. I mean, I'd love to, if you're going to make a deal, I'm telling you, the only two players on that roster you want are Karis LeVert and Torrey Craig.
Yeah.
Because they both fill needs. And Torrey Craig, watching him in Phoenix every game last year, and even before that with Milwaukee, like the guy just the guy does what you need him to do.
Plenty of postseason experience.
You know, like, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is that 3-and-D guy who can also get to the line. You know, like he is that guy to me matters. I think you can't have enough guys like that on your roster. So that's somebody that I would be looking at. But you know what? I mean, there's other guys that I think, I mean, you could. I mean, where are you at with Jordan Clarkson? I mean, is Jordan Clarkson
He's
a guy
trade chip.
Is he a guy that you are
Jordan Clarkson is a trade asset to me. I'm not saying that I want to trade him, but what I am saying is that somebody on the other end of the phone is going to ask about Jordan Clarkson, and you need to know the answer to that question. And my answer is yes, he can be included in a deal, but obviously the price has to be right. You're going to have to pay for him. So I think, yeah, guys like Bogey, Clarkson.
I wonder what Clarkson's value would be in a trade.
Oh, I think his value would be high. Yeah, I mean, he's a sixth man of the year. I mean, he's got value for sure.
I don't know. I think you don't play him late in games.
No.
I mean, I don't know. You know what? We get into this is why I hate talking about trades and blowing rosters up, and
Yeah.
you wind up off in the weeds.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a black hole because you don't know without being able to see the dollar for dollar stat sheet, in front of you. It's hard to say what you can go and get.
Yeah, I just don't see how. But like Jesus destroys Satan's lies. I don't think that's on your birth certificate.
God bless.
Jesus says they will trade Joe and picks for Jeremy Grant or Harrison Barnes. How?
And what picks?
And what money, in what universe does that work? Because if you look at, isn't Joe Ingles making $13 million? And we just talked about Jeremy Grant's contract. I mean, the guy's making 20, and he's got 2 years left on that deal. The Jazz are way over the tax limit, which means the money's got to be almost perfect.
Yeah.
Joe Ingles is making $13 million this season. I mean, that deal doesn't work nearly. You would have to find a way. You'd have to include a Royce O'Neal or
Yeah.
I mean, you would have to find a way to put that'd have to be a third team.
Yeah.
Because I don't see that happening. I mean, and if you look at, and people love them some Lou Dort. Why would the Jazz want Lou Dort?
Because he can play great defense, man.
Yeah. But who is he going to play instead of?
Royce O'Neal? I'd rather have Lou Dort than Royce O'Neal.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course.
But you're at. Well, what do you mean?
I don't see how I don't know why you would do that if you're is Lou Dort a big update or a big upgrade? I mean, he's making nothing. Come on, geez Louise. He's making $1.6 million.
Yeah, that's why you like him.
I mean, I don't know, man. And he's hurt. Like, I don't know. I'm not a Lou Dort guy. I'm not. I think that I like him. He has gotten much better. There's no doubt about that. I'm just not so sure that I'm down with. Does he make you a better team?
Yeah, he does.
If you give up a secondary player to get Lugens Dort.
Yes. He makes you a better team, dude. Yes.
How much does he play in instead of who?
Okay, again, he would play. He's a better defender than, let's say, any of your second tier players right now. He's a better defender than Joe. He's a better defender than, Rudy Gay or, any of the guys you're bringing off the bench, dude. He's better than those guys defensively.
Yeah.
Like he is.
Yeah. What is he? 6'2"? Let's see. I don't know. I just that doesn't feel like a championship trade to me. That doesn't make you better in the long term. That's a now fix. And I don't know. Like, I mean, he's owed no money. Okay. I'm not going to write that off. I need to think about the Lou Dort thing because he's not going to cost much to get him.
Yeah.
But why, that's interesting. That's interesting. I don't see that Joe Ingles brings you a huge chip in return.
No.
Because
the chips, the guys that bring you good return would be Jordan Clarkson and Bogdanovich.
Yeah, it'll be I mean, like I look at their guards. I mean, what are you doing with Jared Butler?
He's rotting on the bench. That's what you're doing with him.
But is that a guy you're willing to let go of? Like, I mean,
I would hope not, but
yeah, we'll see. I think it'll be interesting to see exactly how the Jazz go about this.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, top 5, bottom 5 before then we have to get into ESPN and the folks. Best team in the NBA right now.
It's the Warriors. I mean, they are the best team in the league right now. But there's this grouping of teams at the top of the league, and then there's a pretty steep fall off after that. So, like, my grouping of the best teams in the league is actually, the Nets. I was looking at this last night, and I think you have to put the Jazz in this conversation at 26-10. I think you do. So my 5 would be the Nets, the Jazz, the Bulls, the Suns, and the Warriors right here today. That's who
Warriors
I think.
won.
Yeah.
I think the Warriors won. I think the Suns are 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bulls are 3.
Mm-hmm.
The Nets are 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Are the Memphis Grizzlies better than the Utah Jazz?
No. Not today.
Okay. I look at because there's only a couple of teams that are worthy of the 5th spot conversation.
Right.
And I do think the Jazz are on the cusp of that. But, man, I got to think if they played head-to-head 7-game series, I'm taking Memphis.
Man, you really like Memphis.
Memphis is playing incredibly fast. And I think what you're getting, I mean, I just watching them the other night. Like, I mean, they are, I don't know how you defend Memphis. I really don't. I mean, they're 20. Do people realize they've won 25 games?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that was without Ja Morant, right? But that win over the Nets the other night was a proving ground.
Yeah.
Having watched all of that, there's a couple of things that stood out to me in that game. First of all, they don't shoot the 3 particularly well.
Right.
They don't.
Yeah.
But they rebound the ball really well.
Yeah, they're a gritty team. They're tenacious.
And Steven Adams is hard to deal with. He's hard to deal with in the pick and roll.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a great impact player offensively. He just creates. He does what Rudy does. Rudy has such a wide frame.
Yeah.
He just creates a lot of room for guys.
Yeah.
So I really like the way they play. They don't. Again, they live and die on the 3. But the way that Bane is playing, that he scores 29 points on 5 of 11 from 3.
Yeah, dude.
That's pretty impressive to me.
Yeah.
And that they play their entire bench, and that Clark Jones and Culver are giving them big contribute. Like, that team's getting better.
Yeah.
That team is getting.
They are. There's no question they're better. Last year they were head and shoulders below the Jazz. I think this year it's close. Like, I think this year in a 7-game series, like I was saying earlier, I think it'd be very, very close. I think, again, assuming that both teams are 100%, I think that's a deep series. I think that's like a 6 or 7 gamer for sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they. I don't mind giving the Jazz that 5th spot.
Yeah, I think the Jazz have the 5th spot right now, here today. But I think I think the other thing that we got to mention before we move off the NBA stuff is that the Jazz deserve a lot of credit for A, staying healthy, but B, staying out of COVID protocol. They're one of the only teams that hasn't really had to deal with COVID this year. So, I think they deserve a lot of credit for that. So, assuming that can all stay, where it's at, there's not a huge COVID outbreak on the team. You don't sustain major injury, all that stays away. Yeah, I think the Jazz are the 5th team.
And by the way, I would also point out that Dylan Brooks is in COVID protocol, so they beat the Nets without him.
Yeah, it's a great point.
I mean,
they're a good team. I'm not disagreeing with you that Memphis is a good team. I just think that they need to prove and continue to prove that they can beat, the best teams.
Who's the worst team in the NBA right now? I'm going to say the Pistons. I've probably watched the Pistons are the Rockets.
Yeah.
I've watched way too. I think the Rockets are actually improving.
They are.
I think the Pistons are the worst team in the NBA, followed closely by the Pelicans.
Yeah.
So those two would be my bottom, and then I think the Magic.
Yep.
Was my third. This is where it gets difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Because I actually think Oklahoma City and Indiana are very similar teams, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, well, I think the surprise team that's down in the bottom of the league right now is Portland, and I think this Dame injury basically kicks them down into one of the worst teams in the league because without him, they're really not a good team.
They're awful defensively.
Yeah, I mean, without Dame, they're nothing.
I think only next to Houston.
Yeah,
the Rockets are the worst defensive team in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I think Portland is only is second worst in defense only to Houston.
Yeah. I mean, because after that, I mean, you got teams like, like ESPN as the Kings as the 23rd best team in the league, but they're not in the bottom, pot of teams. Like, I think your boiler pot of teams is Portland, New Orleans, OKC, Houston, Orlando, and Detroit. Those teams are like, hey, you guys are terrible.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Real quick on ESPN.
Yeah.
So yesterday, ESPN finalized an agreement with Rachel Nichols to leave the network.
Uh-huh.
So she's officially out at the network.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye. So here's my question, though. If you are a sports fan and you are watching ESPN, are you watching ESPN, and where do you go for sports news?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I use Twitter for sports all day.
Yeah.
I have, when I'm working at the Yelpatoria, I have my 9,000-inch TV on in the background.
Uh-huh.
And I have a bunch of accounts that I have notifications turned on for.
Uh-huh.
Like Woj is interesting, Schefter. Oh, yeah, they're all ESPN guys.
That's every day.
Well, because ESPN has the best news guys in the business.
Right.
But where I think ESPN is really falling off on TV is they don't have the best entertainment guys in the business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, having said that, I haven't turned on Fox Sports 1 in
decades.
I can't remember the last time. And I think you're seeing that ESPN is still the worldwide leader because of their play-by-play product.
Mm-hmm.
The college football playoff, the NFL, like the NBA. The NHL is back. I had to watch the Blackhawks on ESPN Plus last night.
Yeah.
That's where ESPN wins. ESPN Plus is a dominant platform.
Yeah.
And if you don't subscribe to ESPN Plus, I think you're missing half of the world of sports.
Mm-hmm.
But ESPN television, outside of play-by-play, I think is on the verge of irrelevance.
It's vulnerable.
It really is.
Yeah. I think the thing is like let's take SportsCenter for example. SportsCenter I feel like is a good example of what's happened to ESPN. As a kid, SportsCenter was my pride and joy. Loved SportsCenter, like was about it, like that was how I wanted to start every weekend morning. But now SportsCenter is just what's on in the background because there's not really another option. I don't like the personalities on SportsCenter are trash on ESPN. I mean, they say some really dumb things, like the way they go about commentating the highlights is not good. Like it's just become a very average product, but you watch it because it's SportsCenter. Like it just is what it is. So I think that minute difference is actually a really big difference. And I think this is what, like in the past on the show, we've talked about like why people listen to radio shows versus podcasts. And I think that conversation and this conversation are very similar. You watch a product that you're invested in,
yes,
that you enjoy. So that's where I think ESPN television is really falling off. Like literally the only reason that Get Up is any good, it's not because of Greeny. I love Greeny, respect his career. It's not because of Greeny. It's because of Ryan Clark and Dan Orlovsky. Those two guys, when they're on that show, make that show like 10 times better because they're young, energetic talent. Other than that, I don't really enjoy any other talent at ESPN.
Yeah, the hard part for me is that I think Get Up is a good show when Greeny's on there. When Mike Greenberg's off of Get Up, I don't watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, and Mike's off altogether now with COVID, by the way. But I think ESPN's home run is that you can watch it with the sound off.
Yeah.
And that means it's on in bars and restaurants and
yep.
backgrounds and, but the struggle is real. So I guess my question for everybody is, where do you get your sports news?
And is it still ESPN or have you found another thing? Is there another option now?
Yeah. Let's see. Boyd Lake says Fox Sports Radio. That's interesting.
Okay.
Giggity says ESPN has gotten to be unwatchable to me. Twitter is top for news, then to each league's channel, NFL Network, MLB Network, etc. Did you see MLB Network fired Ken Rosenthal?
Yes, because
he criticized Rob Manfred.
And I respect the hell out of him for doing that.
Yeah. Major League Baseball's a joke.
Yeah.
I love the game. I watch every day. the way it's run, and Rob Manfred's a fucking fraud. Like, that guy, to me, get out of here.
Yeah.
Cody Strickland says, Holly needs to do better for us. It was getting bad with her. I miss KK. I don't mind Holly Rowe.
Yeah, I don't mind Holly Rowe. She's not good on football. She did football the other night. Not good.
I think it's awkward.
Yeah.
Holly Rowe, that triumvirate can be awkward at times.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no better human being than Holly Rowe. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, yeah. She's a wonderful person.
But as a broadcast team, I don't want to get into this necessarily, but I subscribe to the NBA League Pass. I don't watch the Jazz broadcast. I think it's miserable.
Yeah.
Craig Bolerjack, with all due respect, Bowler's had a great career. He is a terrible broadcaster. It is, I just cannot listen.
Yeah.
I can do small stretches of David Locke, but I'm not in the car enough when they're playing. I watch them on TV.
Yeah.
But I watched the New Orleans telecast the other night, which was dreadful. I just can't watch Craig Bolerjack. It is so hard for me to listen to him do the games. I like Thurl. I like Holly. It's hard for me to watch that.
Yeah.
It really hurts my ears. It just is. Yeah, it's tough for me. Holly bugs me too, the night guy says. Tanner Plummer says, I get my sports news from Twitter, the Score app, the Bleacher Report app, and ESPN. The ESPN app, I think, is vital. You have to have it.
Yeah.
You have to have it. Okay, wait. Jesus, my man, settle down. Suns fans are delusional. The Warriors are the best, but Utah is better than Phoenix. Stop. Did you watch the Suns last night? Have you watched the Suns at all this year? My guess is you haven't seen much Suns basketball.
Yeah.
If you think the Utah Jazz are better than the Phoenix Suns, you're not watching the same league I'm watching.
Yeah.
Because Devin Booker is out of his mind right now.
Yeah.
His performance last night, his performance the last couple of weeks since he got back, forget it. I mean, they're unstoppable. They are unstoppable. You're crazy. Tanner, as usual, hates Craig Bolerjack. Jesus says Locke's voice is gravelly and annoying. The Nye guy says Boone is a great human, but damn, I can't listen to him anymore. Yeah, Ron Boone is a good dude. But the Jazz need an overhaul. And I don't know the size of Ryan Smith's testicles. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
I've never measured. But when they get a new TV deal, I wonder how much the talent will change. Because, again, with all due respect to Bowler, with all due respect to Ron Boone, like, you need a refreshing.
Yeah.
David Locke's probably not going anywhere. I would guess Bowler's not going anywhere. So there won't be a market change. But, I mean, even the studio talent, like, it's just tough to watch Jazz stuff on TV.
Yeah.
It really is. Jesus says, absolutely, Utah's definitely better. So is Donovan. He got player of the month. Your opinion is yours, but Utah is definitely better. There's no definitely better than Phoenix. Listen.
Player of the yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the player of the month award means nothing. What is that?
Yeah.
It means absolutely
He had
nothing.
a good month. Like,
if you look at the on the whole, Devin Booker's shooting 42% from three now, I think. Like, the guy is, I mean, he's having a career. You realize
Devin Booker's been to the NBA Finals now, man. Devin Booker is a step ahead. There's no doubt.
Devin Booker and look, Devin Booker, to me, he has a more well-rounded game at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is that he's got a better team around him.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's not a knock on Donovan. Devin Booker's shooting 42% from three, man. Like, are you kidding me? He's averaging 24 points a game, 42% from three, 46% from two. I mean, come on, what are we talking about? The Suns right now, the Phoenix Suns right now, are a far better. They're role players. They're Mikal Bridges. They're a better team right now. Like, you look at Cam Johnson. If Cam Johnson's not in the 3-point shooting contest, something's wrong, because that kid is killing people. You look at Ayton, Booker, Crowder, JaVale McGee. I mean, we could go on and on and on. Landry Shamet was a great pickup. They're a better team, man.
Yeah.
The Suns are more well-rounded. They're, in my opinion, they are a far, far better team.
Yeah.
Defensively than the Jazz are. I mean, it's not an accident they went to the finals last year at all. James Knight says, we know Book's your number one hot tub guy, Monty. We get it. Truth. Giggity says, Jesus hitting the bong hard this morning. Tanner Plummer says, do you watch Jazz games? ? Exactly right.
Yeah.
All right, real quick before we get out of here, a couple of things.
Yeah.
How important is Apple Pay to you?
I like using it, but it's not like life and death.
I think, and this is just my humble opinion, and as Jesus points out, my opinion is my opinion.
Right. We didn't know that, though.
I don't ever want to carry my wallet with me if I don't have to. I have all of my cards on my phone, in my Apple Wallet. It's one of the reasons that, Cafe Rio's better than Chipotle shit. Chipotle, I think is how it's pronounced. It depends on where your accent's from, Brian Kelly.
Right, yeah.
But one of the reasons Cafe Rio's great, they take Apple Pay. One of the reasons I don't shop at Walmart, they don't take Apple Pay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I don't want to catch a disease. But anyways, the thing is, or lice.
Don't be rude.
Yeah, I don't want to get lice.
Yeah.
I don't shop at Walmart ever.
Uh-huh.
But I don't shop at Target either. I shop at Amazon.com on the app on my iPhone.
Do you leave the house?
Never. But like if I go to Harmon's, I can use Apple Pay.
Uh-huh. So Apple Pay is a big deal to you.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean, look, so Apple Pay to me, like, it's nice to have, but I don't find myself being upset if someone doesn't have it.
No, me either.
Like, I think that what's interesting now, what we're seeing is that, you've got like, the Village Baker at the district, or like McDonald's, or I think even
Apple Pay.
Chick-fil-A now
Apple
is
Pay.
taking Chick-fil-A is taking Apple Pay
They
now.
are?
So like, Apple Pay is clearly growing, but I'm curious, for the listeners or the commenters, like how many people actually use Apple Pay? Is this like a big deal, to not be able to use
I
it?
have to think everybody uses Apple Pay. I mean, how do you not? Reggie says, I don't know what Utah Jazz fans are hitting in that bong that was mentioned, but there's not a chance in the world on LeBron James's green earth that the Jazz are better than the Suns. And I hate the Suns. Yeah, he's a huge LeBron Laker fan. Yeah, I don't know that anybody agrees with you. I think it was Jesus who said that. I don't think anybody agrees with you. I really don't. Mikey on Instagram says, Rachel Nichols is not even hot. What's the big deal? Well, I mean, if we're judging women on their sex, is that the first thing we still do that as guys?
I guess. I don't know.
Rachel Nichols. I don't judge women on what they look like, but that's just me. The Nye Guy says, Rachel Nichols is now my personal sports news outlet in my hot tub.
Oh, well.
Giggity says, is Apple Pay an option for us sophisticated Droid users?
Yeah, it's called Samsung Pay, I think.
Giggity, I like you. But you've failed me here. You're a Droid guy. You're the one guy on this show that uses a Droid.
Why, Giggity?
Like, I mean, I don't know. I thought once you got out of puberty, you stopped playing with toys. But, I mean.
I don't even know what to say right now. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It hurts, man.
Yeah.
That hits me deep in my groin.
Spinal.
Yeah, seriously. It's called Google Pay or Samsung Pay or, whatever it is.
It's called Get an iPhone so you can have Apple Pay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you need to have, you got to have that. Fat Jesus says, I can't make it rain with Apple Pay though.
Well.
Fat.
I mean,
that's true.
When's the last time you used cash?
Dude, I haven't used cash and
cash or coins or anything. Like
I
haven't.
can't tell you. I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, I just, James Knight wants to know if we can ban Giggity.
We don't do that on this show.
The Nye Guy says, Giggity, pass the bong, dude. Get an iPhone, man.
Yeah.
Giggity's my dude. I like Giggity a lot. He's a long time. Marsai Bougie Baba.
Where is AA
Ron
right
his
now?
comment got filtered, and Tanner's comment got filtered.
Tanner, what are you doing, dude?
But I don't know. His comment, let me see if I can save that comment. I can. I'm starting a hashtag ban Giggity. Hey, guys, can I start a hashtag on the show?
That's it, Skippy.
Tanner? Giggity's my
Is it
dude.
going to catch fire?
No, it's not going to catch
Are
fire.
you sure?
Yes.
There's not more hashtags that say ban Giggity because we're not going to ban him. But
we're
I'm
not.
just curious
Giggity's
to see
my
if
dude.
people are trying to,
Giggity's my dude. Yes, I like my iPhone. It's just so easy.
Hey.
No mom jokes.
Y'all
LOL.
feel me?
Yeah, feel me. Tanner says, LOL, I'm kidding. You better be. Oh, ban Tanner.
Pack your shit. Let's go.
Exactly right. Nah, Giggity is the man, the Nye guy says. Exactly.
Yeah.
Love the Tanner voice, LOL.
Everybody does.
Everybody does.
Facts.
Facts. They do. See, Tanner, you're a superstar, man. Welcome to the show, bro. And what was the other thing?
5G.
5G. Okay. By the way, do you guys believe in this 5G BS? So Brandon Whiteside says ban everybody. Exactly right. Let's see. Cooper Royale says, did you guys talk about BYU losing to UAB? Wait,
Bro.
did they play UAB?
They did?
Yeah. By the way, Baylor Romney transferred.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to play football anymore. I was
who
told he
knows?
wants to retire. We didn't, Cooper. It's,
It's old news.
yeah.
We're behind that already.
We've moved on from that tragedy.
Yeah.
5G. Do you guys believe in this 5G thing? The airlines are all upset because I think it's Verizon and AT&T. AT&T sucks. Wireless, as an AT&T customer, I can tell you that. Rolled out a new level of 5G service, and the difference is that this new 5G from Verizon and AT&T is much faster. Like it's a new band of communication. And the issue is that apparently it messes with airplanes' communication, the way they communicate. And the airplane people, the airlines, say that it causes safety issues for the crew and the passengers, and that it could potentially lead to air disasters. Do you buy it?
I don't know that I buy it. I think that I would be surprised. I've kind of feel like at some point airlines have to come up with a fix of some kind. How long has 5G been a thing? Like, it's been, what has it been, 2 years now or something, Hasn't it been around for long enough where there has to be some kind of fix or workaround, or maybe this is just fear-mongering by the airlines. Who the hell knows? I honestly don't know, but I think, like, let me ask you this. When you're on an airplane, do you actually go into airplane mode?
No.
Does anybody actually go into airplane mode?
No, I mean, yeah.
Sure.
I'm in
sure.
airplane mode. Yep. No.
So you better check
I'm a
yourself.
Wi-Fi buyer, though.
Yeah.
Dude, I felt like such a baller yesterday, speaking of airlines. I spent $7,000 on airfare yesterday.
Yeah.
$7,000.
Yeah.
First class, all the way to Maui. Damn right, Giggity. Fat Jesus know what's up from us listeners from the crappy radio station days.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. 5G's a scam? Okay. Justin Salas says, unfortunately, H-E-B, a Texas grocery store. Yeah, I know H-E-B well. Doesn't take Apple Pay. Okay. Okay, Jesus destroys Satan's lies is still on the Jazz and the Suns. Ramiro says, I hate Apple, but I have all Apple products. There's nothing better. Exactly right. Boyd Lake says, why would Baylor Romney be in the portal if he wants to retire? Doesn't make sense to me. I think he wants to know his options. Marcus says, the 5G thing's a scam. It's a way to get Trump back into office.
Infowars.com.
Which, by the way, immediately gets filtered. Did you hear Ted Cruz yesterday, by the way?
You mean Cancun Cruise?
Yeah, not to go down the rabbit hole. Ted Cruz yesterday was like, oh, when we win the House, we're going to flip the House in the midterms. We have multiple charges. Joe Biden's getting, what do you call it, impeached.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool, dude.
Really? Anyway. Jesus, Satan will be waiting for you here in the chat when the Suns take the Jazz behind the woodshed. Jesus, I think you're on your own on this because nobody believes the Jazz are better than the Suns. Even
Shiva, the god
even
of death.
Jazz fans don't think so. So it's good. Jake, is there a girlfriend update?
No update. There's not an update since yesterday.
Did you guys talk yesterday?
Briefly. Not a lot.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be difficult. There's just not that much of an update. Like, there's not anything, to say. I don't know. What do you say? Yesterday was Tuesday.
Okay.
We're still together. There hasn't been any breakup over text.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
What'd you guys talk about yesterday?
That I fell asleep last night and she had gotten home from spin.
So you fell asleep last night.
Yeah.
What time did you fall asleep?
Like 8:45.
8:45. God damn, I was out by like 7.
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to stay I'm watching. What was I watching last night? I was watching one of the NBA. I was watching the Suns game. I was watching the Suns game last night, falling asleep.
Yeah.
It was terrible. So my wife made lentil shepherd's pie, which is about to swim in the toilet. By the way.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
Just saying. Got to get that PDH in before work.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the point is, I had some shepherd's pie last night, and my wife did this. My wife rides a Never Summer snowboard, and so they have a women's group at Never Summer, and they do these webinars. And so she was watching this webinar, and I'm trying to stay awake to bad basketball and Chicago PD reruns. And it's just, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I was struggling. I was mentally, going back to work yesterday, sucked. I was mentally tired yesterday. I'm done working at 5:30, and it just was.
Yesterday went by super fast.
Oh, man. I was talking to a rep yesterday after lunch about, my wife bought me the best shirt. And it says, "Whoa, I just methane."
Dude, bro, come on.
It's
You did it on the show.
Yeah, it's going to be terrible. I'm just telling. See, I'm not a fart denier like you.
You farted on the show.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
All gas, no brake.
What's wrong with that?
Wow.
Madden says no dumping on the bus. The Nye guy says too late. Fat Jesus says, "How about Bismack Biombo last night? He was good." As bad as Biden has been, I still prefer him over the Tangerine Twitter machine.
Yeah.
Tanner says. The fact that there's no update means it's getting serious, Jake. James Knight says.
Sorry, man. Yeah, sorry.
Giggity says, have you guys been braving the cold to smoke anything lately? We have not.
No, we have not.
David Morris. Rudy Gay is fine, just not small ball. Eric Pascal would be better at the 5 as he hustles for rebounds. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I'm not a fart denier like you are.
I'm not. Dude.
And I just don't understand why you.
Why do you do this?
Because I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
No, I'm asking you. Why do you consistently claim that I'm a fart denier?
No,
I walked into your house today before we came down, we were getting our water and everything. I literally farted at the top of the stairs.
Right, but it was loud and obnoxious. It was a butt clapper. So there was
What's wrong with that?
There was no way for you to deny it. Right? But you're a guy who will be driving
Mrs. Monty just came down here and asked if someone died. Do you know anything about that?
I died. But the point is, and you killed me because of the lentils. But the point is, we'll be driving up to Park City the other day, and I'll see you do the little lean to let it out.
No, I do not
and you'll be like,
lean.
no, I didn't fart. What do you
No.
mean? I didn't
No,
fart.
what are you talking about?
No, I don't fart. Me? No, never.
No,
And you'll just never own it.
that's not true.
In the middle of the night, my wife is farting me out of bed.
Uh-huh.
And if I tell her that, she'll be like, oh, yeah, farts happen.
Uh-huh.
Eat more beans. And it's okay, yeah, farts happen. I'm old. I eat a lot of fiber. It is what it is. It is what it is. The Nye guy says, do yourself a favor and look up farting preacher on YouTube. Life-changing. Poon Stevens says house.
Poon Stevens.
That's his name. Poon Steven. Welcome to the show. Anyway, we should probably go. It's way late, and
Yeah.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, we know.
So we should.
We get it. We know.
No, I haven't bought any shoes lately.
Nope, no shoes.
And I have not bought any shoes at all. I bought my wife a pair on Christmas, and I got a jacket that I needed. But other than that, I haven't bought anything.
Yeah.
I've spent no money other than $7,000. My wife gouged out of my wallet for first-class airfare
Uh-huh.
without even asking me. It's a lie. I kind of mandated that.
Yeah.
All right, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Monty Show. MONTY, The Monty Show. Jake is SLC Supercars, otherwise known as thefartdenier.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.